process, so it is a big deal for farmers. People from the community nominate farmers, and then there is a subcommittee that chooses from those nominations. And Farm Family of the Year is really two things that make a family a winner. One is that a successful farm operation in the county. And the other, equally important, and some would argue even more important, is that it's a family that gives back to the community. So a big factor in when we are selecting that farm family is what else are they doing in the community that is giving back and making the community itself more vibrant. So I am very fortunate to be here today to give this award to our Farm Family of the Year, and I'm going to hand it back over to Karen to tell you a little bit about the family.
Yeah, so this year's recipient of our award is Dan and Trish Wanis and their family. 13 years ago, Dan and Trish began to develop their 5-acre homestead, Auburn View Farms, into what it is today. The couple has about 10 purebred beef shorthorn cows and over 20 show pigs, in which they market the offspring of and are used as opportunities for youth in the 4-H, FFA, and other livestock organizations to be able to show a variety of just really high quality livestock in various livestock jackpot shows, county fairs, state fairs, as well as national shows. We're really fortunate that the family has that rooted family. They've been able to pass on what they really love and enjoy about raising livestock onto their kids and other members of the various youth organizations that they've been able to mentor over the years. As Lori mentioned, this award is really rooted in what, in addition, is the family doing to support agriculture across the county, and Dan and Trish are excellent examples of that. They're members of the Emmanuel Lutheran Church in New Albern. They're both members of the Glencoe Silver Lake Ag Promoters, as well as the Minnesota Shorthorn Association and National Shorthorn Association. And one of the main reasons why they were nominated this year is just their commitment to the 4-H program. They are the 4-H swine superintendents for the McLeod County Fair, as well as are constantly giving back to those kids, being involved in the 4-H and FFA program, as well as in those junior cattle and swine associations. So with that, I'd like to invite Dan and Trish to come forward and maybe share a couple more words about their family.
Well, I just want to reiterate, thank you for having us here and giving us this opportunity to just tell you a little bit more. When we were first found out that we were nominated and selected, it came as a shock. Historically, when I think back about the Farm Family of the Years, we think of potentially much larger operations that, maybe entail thousands of acres or thousands of head of livestock. We have 5 acres, 20 sows, and roughly 10 cows. And, I thought it was weird. I really did think it was weird. And till I was talking to a friend, actually someone called me to congratulate us, and I told them that, and they said basically the same thing as what she said. It's not so much about maybe the size or the financial contribution, it's what else you provide. And for us, it's that investment and that opportunity for the youth. That's what we're investing in. We maybe aren't bringing thousands of dollars back into our communities as far as financial contribution, but I guess in our farms or in our family's opinion, that's secondary. If we can raise youth that have work ethic and knowledge and drive, the rest will come. And so I guess that's kind of been our approach. We have, an example is we have a young lady that, when did Emily start?
Probably 10 years ago.
10 years ago, started leasing animals from us to show in 4-H. I don't know what her career path or school path would have led to without this experience, but we've been told by her and her family that it probably wouldn't be going to University of Wisconsin River Falls, pursuing a career in
Animal science meat.
animal science with a focus on meat production, feedlot management type stuff. And for us to be able to say that we were able to give back into the ag community in that way, that meant a lot to us. We have 4 kids of our own. We consider Emily our 5th kid. Our kids range in age from 23 to 10. So we've got a few more years to hopefully help influence the youth within the county from that livestock end of things. So, and one more quick thing, as far as the fair and stuff goes, I want to thank the county commissioners because you guys really do see the value in that, in the amount of money that you guys put forth into that fairgrounds, allowing us to have the type of facility that we have. So thank you for that.
Do you guys have any questions for the family or have any comments for them as well?
Mr. Chair, I just want to follow that up and excellent words by the Wallaces this morning about their believing in the youth development. And, we talk a lot about the 4-H program and the success here focusing on the kids, but it only works when we have the volunteers. And the Wallace family are definitely on the high end of that for McLeod County. They raise several pigs every year just for the intentions of having a spring sale to continue to get kids involved in the project area. And what's really cool is it doesn't end there. They help them throughout the year with how to show, the mentoring on feeding, all the way through the county fair. They work with the county fair, the state fair, chaperone, the superintendents. It's just awesome. And so the success of our program as a 4-H program is dependent on superior leaders like the Wallace family. So excellent to be recognizing them.
And I would just echo what Commissioner Wright just said. I don't think you can measure what you do in dollars and cents. I think you're modest in the good you're doing, and it's in anything we can do with young people today is just fantastic. I've heard of different things you've done. I don't know. It's here specific today, and that's good. So I just commend you for everything you're doing.
All right, we did want to take just a couple moments this morning to share a little bit of an update in terms of ag, food, and natural resource for the county. So with that, I'm going to let Lori share a little bit more about the new Tri-County partnership between Wright, McLeod, and Meeker counties.
So you may recall, I'm just so humbled. Anyway, it's hard to go after you, so thank you so much for that. It reminds us of the meaningful work that we all do, so thank you. You may recall that I was before you about a year ago, maybe a little more than that, asking for your support to change the model that we use to deliver extension services in McLeod County. We had one educator, Karen, who worked with Meeker and McLeod, and she had to be sort of the jack of all trades. She had to know everything about everything. And in my region, we've been trying some different models that we think are more successful. And what we are doing is having counties partner and share educators, and what that allows you to do is have educators who don't have to be the jack of all trades. They get to specialize. Karen is by experience an expert in livestock, and so I think when we started this model with Stearns, Benton, and Morrison, was like, wow, that could be pretty cool here. So we talked about it for the better part of a couple of years. Paul was part of those conversations, and really thought about, is it the right thing to do here? And so last year I came and asked you to support that change. So today we have a partnership with Meeker, McLeod, and Wright County, and instead of one educator who needs to know everything about everything, you have 3. So Karen is our livestock expert and gets to focus on that. Emily is new. She is our horticulture expert. We had Adam Austing, who was our crops expert. So I was hoping to come to you today fully staffed with everybody in place, but this has not been a year where staffing is easy. And like like our farmers. In extension, this is a labor of love. We are not paying millions of dollars for our educators to work with us, and so they can, and sometimes do, move on to corporate environments where they can make more money, and Adam was able to do that. So we do have an interim person in place who's making sure that the crops programming keeps moving, and there is a search going for that crops position. So the next time we meet, hopefully we'll have all 3 educators here. But wanted to be here today to introduce you to Emily, let her talk a little bit about what she's doing, and let Karen talk a little bit about her new path and the work she's doing there. So I thank you very much for supporting us in this endeavor, and I hope that together we all see the benefits of doing things in a new way.
So my name is Emily Hansen. I am originally from Buffalo, Minnesota, so it's really nice to be back home in this area. I actually just graduated from college in May with a degree in agricultural communications and marketing. I was also a student athlete at the University of Minnesota. I played softball for the women's softball team there, and I got a lot of great experiences as well when I was in college. I was an intern for the Stearns Benton Morrison model that Lori was just talking about. I was their horticulture intern, and then during my senior year, I was also a Minnesota Department of Agriculture intern during my school year. So I'm just really excited to be on here with Extension. I love representing the University of Minnesota as I have for the past 4 years. As of now, I'm just really getting out in all of the counties and communicating with people, making connections, getting in touch with stakeholders, and seeing where we can go from there.
Perfect. And just a little background on me again. So I'm really happy to be able to continue to support agriculture in McLeod County. I grew up in Lester Prairie, so I as well am in my home turf, and being able to support farmers across the area. And looking forward for me, it's really about building that network and those connections so that I can better serve farmers across the area. So the last couple of weeks and months, I've been trying to reconnect with some of those soil and water folks, county feedlot officers, to see where those natural connections are, so we can elevate some of the other great work that's happening across the county and better serve area farmers. And moving forward, we did provide a report in your guys' packet. Those are all events that are either in the works or will be coming up. So if there's anything in there that you guys want to take part in, we would love to invite you and be a part of those programs. And we're just really looking for, if you're hearing anything from your constituents on things that they're wanting in terms of education around crops, livestock, horticulture, or anything in between, please let us know. We'd love to be that connector between some of the resources coming out of the University of Minnesota and our county support here. And so with that, I think I can speak for all 3 of us, is that we really thank you for this opportunity to have this tri-county partnership where we get the opportunity to specialize within our various areas of expertise.
Before y'all go, can we get a picture with the Wanis family?
Absolutely. You
I'll probably work up here. If you probably, it's the best is if you can come up here and we'll crowd together as well.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And last comment from me, I'd like to thank the rest of your crew here. I mean, ag and agribusiness is, in my mind, is the #1 thing in McLeod County. I'm glad you're putting together this coalition to get more, we get more coverage for the dollar, and hopefully that works. We're very fortunate to get people back from our own county or close to us, so that's always really nice, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a public hearing to consider approving the 2023 fee schedule for McLeod County. I'll just turn it over to you, Stefan.
Mr. Chair, I move to open the hearing.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to open. Is there seconded by Commissioner Luthens? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The public hearing is now open. 9:17.
morning, Commissioners. I have for you today for your consideration approving the 2023 McLeod County fee schedule. Public hearing to discuss the 2023 fee schedule was advertised in the McLeod County Chronicle for 3 weeks on October 26th, November 2nd, and November 9th, 2022, and the board reviewed the changes requested by departments at our October 18th, 2022 workshop. Once approved, the 2023 McLeod County fee schedule would go into effect January 1st, 2023. Just a couple things to note. After our meeting on October 18th, there were 2 fees added to the fairgrounds fee schedule, a 4-H kitchen rental fee of $128 a day, and an entire fairgrounds rental fee, which was $2,000 a day of the event and $500 per day for setup and takedown days. So with that, we have, like I said, we have the schedule that was discussed. I guess if anyone is here to comment or if you have questions.
Just a quick question, just to clarify, what was their kitchen fee before this fee, or was there none?
This is a new fee, is my understanding. Yep.
Okay. Just for clarification.
Yep, there was not a previous fee.
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I just want to note, you'll see under mileage staff vehicles, that's under review. We're going over that at our workshop. And also, just a reminder that if there is something on the fee schedule that it can change at any time with board approval, this is simply just to get prepared for 2023.
Yes, and with that in mind, we do know that there's a public hearing scheduled for, I think, December for the business subsidy the business subsidy policy, and so there may be an addition to the fee schedule following that.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
well said, everyone. This can be amended, changed, added to, subtracted from throughout the year with the proper notifications and board action. And we have vetted this through in some workshops, so I would move to approve the 2023 fee schedule.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to approve the fee schedule. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
just to be clear, the mileage is not set. It is under review and to be determined at a later date.
Correct.
Mr. Chair, no, it would be approved at the 35 cents until further change. It's just noting that it's under review. So it's a current rate of 35 cents per mile. So you would be approving it at 35 cents per mile, so you would have to vote on it again if you change it.
Anything in this, correct me if I'm wrong, but anything we're approving right now is what it's going to be. It is what it is, what this states. So anything different than that would have to come back to the board and be changed.
By the public hearing.
Through a yeah, that was my other comment. It would have to be just like we're doing today.
So, Mr. Chair, that's why Stefan noted that there is a public hearing scheduled already in December where we're going over a fee change, so if there were an update, it could be added to that date, correct? Is there enough notification time still where it could be added if they had something?
When is your current public hearing scheduled for? I think
Well, regardless,
we would have to
if it
just,
needed to be, we could add it
just
into
set
the
another one.
schedule. We have time before the end of the year, or you can change it mid-year as well.
Just following the statute for public hearings is what it'll be. And now there's one already scheduled. Just so you're on full understanding, this is going to be the fee schedule as of our vote today.
well, sorry, Commissioner, it will be the fee schedule that you approve, but that will not take effect until January 1st,
Correct.
2023. Yep.
But it will be the
Yes,
the
what you see
schedule
here.
for 23.
Unless something is added before January 1st, 2023. Yes, sir.
Are we all clear?
So could we address the mileage today?
I think
Mr. Chair, it's on our workshop agenda.
we legally we can, but we've already scheduled in the workshop. And I don't know that the discussion is, we didn't set any time for that today, so I would,
So the public hearing coming will be, this will be on the agenda then, mileage? Or you have to,
No,
not
Ms.
necessarily.
we have to put it on there.
So today you are approving the mileage as stated in the fee schedule because that's what it currently is. And it's noted as under review next to it so that essentially so staff can see you are reviewing it. That's our staff reimbursement per mile, including yourselves for elected officials. We have a workshop scheduled after this meeting, and you'll go over information there relevant to mileage and cost to operate our fleet. Then you can make a decision whether or not to propose a change in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's why that notice is on there, is that we are considering, I would, my words again, that would be or letting everyone know that we are considering it or thinking about a change. All right, with that, I'll call the question. All in favor of approving the 2023 fee schedule, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I'll take a
Stefan.
motion to close the public hearing. Motion made by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Nagel. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now closed. (9:24). All right, Casey, I believe, if I'm, no, I'm sorry, we have Minnesota Department of Transportation. Excuse me, I got ahead of myself, but go ahead.
Good morning. I believe you have these in your packets, but does anybody want a paper copy of the maps we're going to go over?
Sure.
Okay, otherwise Tony is here to help too.
Stefan or someone, for some reason, that right mic is low. And I can hear, but I don't know what's going out on, the tape. The right mic seems to be good. I don't know if it's how we're talking into it or what's going on.
I can talk loud too.
There you go.
They're two different maps, yes. Oh. That'll be fine, yeah. I just know some folks like a map in front of them too. Good morning. I'm Megan DeShepard with the Department of Transportation out of the Wilmer office. And this is Tony Fau. He's our program coordinator for the district. And we just thought we'd give a quick update of our stip and chip that we do to each county in our 12-county district.
Megan, excuse me for
Yes, sir.
interrupting, but try to turn that mic. It is,
Okay.
if you're facing the mic, you're right on the money. Thank you.
I'm not used to mics. Okay. So as you know, there was no legislative action this past season, so there's no transportation bill that has passed. So at the state level and probably at the county level too, we're all waiting for that, hopefully in the new session in the new year. So that has put some of our projects' progression on hold a little bit or delayed them. And we also have some new federal IIJA funds that will hopefully be coming in our next year's stip and chip. So they aren't in this one in front of you, but they likely will be in the next round. So that's something to look forward to. And that may include some grants that we can go after for some of these projects. And but there still is concern that we have some unmet bridge safety and mobility issues in the district that we don't have funding for at this time. So just to review, if any of you are new, that the ATP is our Area Transportation Improvement Program, and that's approved by the local ATP, which Doug sits on for your region. And it's combined with others in the state to form the STIP, which is the State Transportation Improvement Program. And so that first map, 2023 through 2026, those are commitments. Those are projects that have been fully scoped, and they're not as likely to change. The second map is the CHIP, which is the Capital Highway Investment Plan, and those are the outer years, so that's 2027 through 2032. And those projects are more fluid. The limits of those projects may change, the pavement fixes can be switched, and even the year of the project can move around quite a bit, and that's happening a lot lately with some of our lettings coming in quite high. So just to go over projects in your county, the first one is in 2023, so that's red on your map. That's Highway 7 and CASA 1, and that's a roundabout. Next is 2024, so that's orange on your map. Highway 212, Glencoe and Morningside Drive roundabout. And then on Highway 15, a railroad crossing signal upgrade at the TCWR Railroad Crossing in Sumter Township on Highway 15. So that's just north of 212. It's that first crossing right there after 212. And then in 2025, which is dark green on your map, is a roundabout at that 212 and Highway 15 intersection. Sorry, am I going too fast? And then in 2026, which is dark blue on your map, that's Highway 212 from Highway 22 west of Glencoe to the McLeod Carver County line, and that's to install high-tension cable median barrier in the middle of the ditch, in the middle of the two lanes. And on Highway 7 and Minnesota 22, so from the junction of 22 to 0.15 miles east of Grove Avenue and Silver Lake, and then also on 22.6 miles south of County Road 115 to Shady Lane Road, and that's striping and centerline rumbles that'll be added. And then in 2027, which is yellow on your map, on Highway 7 from the junction of 22 to 0.15 miles east of Grove Avenue and Silver Lake, so this same section that was being striped and centerline rumbled the previous year, and Highway 22 to 0.6 miles south of Coney Road 115 to Shady Ridge Road. That's a CPR and diamond grind. And then also in 22 that year, some culvert replacements, and those are 1.5 mile west of County Road 115 to 0.5 miles east of County Road 15. So that's just west of Hutchinson on 22. And then we have a few years where there aren't any projects in your county, and then a final one planned out for 2031 at this time, and it's light green on your map. And that's on Highway 212. A cold-in-place recycle and overlay from CASA 16 to Stewart, basically. And those are all the projects in your county. Are there any questions on those or any in the nearby area that you have questions or comments on?
Questions for Megan from the board? I don't have any questions right specific. I do thank you for getting in our mumble strips or whatever they call them nowadays on 212. I don't know what we do about driving. I mean, you and I, neither one have control of how people are driving. There still is things going on inattentively or whatever. But I think whatever programs we can keep working on them is good. I mean, I appreciate for my 8 years I've been here, I think the state's giving our McLeod County area, our district, more attention than I'm probably used to. People don't always like all the projects, but data shows, well, that's what we get, and data shows that it's helpful. So I appreciate that. And if for the general public, I'm a farm boy, and you go to sit at these meetings and talk about the millions of dollars that's being shuffled around, it's not an easy task. So to try and give everybody not necessarily what they want, but what's needed for safe roads. Any other questions from the board? Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your time.
Now, Casey, I'm ready for you, or we are.
They'll just need a moment to get their presentation up since they're changing over.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
let's see here. I have a very basic PowerPoint here with some photos. Let's see. And some drone video from this year's fair. But good morning, everyone. I'm Casey Walters. I'm the manager of the McLeod County Fair. On behalf of the McLeod County Agricultural Association, I would like to thank you and the committees for your approval and allocation of the ARPA funding for our 2022 McLeod County Fair as we celebrated our 150th anniversary, but most importantly, to give our residents and all of our attendees the opportunity to have a no-cost recreational opportunity for them and their families to enjoy. We appreciate that you recognize the social and economic value that the McLeod County Fair brings to our communities and our residents in McLeod County. This was our best attended fair to date, with over 50,000 attendees over the course of 4 days. We know our audience stretched from far beyond the perimeter of McLeod County. From the gate workers greeting our attendees to just conversations throughout the fairgrounds, there were many positive reviews, and a couple from Sauk Center compared it to the State Fair, noting how clean it was, the volunteers were so kind, and they preferred our fair over the State Fair and would be back again. All 4 days are packed with educational opportunities, 4-H and open class competitions, vendors, live entertainment, and more. Over 4,000 open class exhibits are entered in our fair each year for competition. Each day was busy from open to close, including some sellout crowds in the grandstand, full seats to standing room only for various entertainment. We welcome the Budweiser Clydesdale Hitch to our fair this year as a special attraction for our anniversary. The crew was fantastic to work with. They were very appreciative of our beautiful facilities, hospitality, willingness for our volunteers to help them out, and more. Here's a pretty cool picture of the crowd watching the Clydesdales get hitched up. This year, we're pretty proud of this. This is a plaque that the crew awarded or gave to the fair board at the conclusion of the fair. And they only give out 2 or 3 of these throughout the year for all the stops that they go to. And they were so appreciative of the beautiful facility, the cleanliness, the volunteers, and of course, all of our attendees. So thank you to everyone who came. Considering that was August, this is only the second one that they gave out. So we find that pretty special. So that's credit to everyone that came as well. Let's see here. I've got some drone videos next, I believe. All right, I had thousands of photos I could have shared with you today, but I didn't want to take your whole agenda. In closing, we as the McLeod County Fair Board and Agricultural Association are honored to be the caretakers of this 150-plus-year-old tradition in our county, and we look forward to continuing doing this fun work that we get to do to provide our citizens and guests a fun experience. The ARPA allocations will be a big part in helping us achieve that success by providing the ability for all ages to attend with a no-cost gate admission. Thank you again for your support, and we look forward to seeing you August 17th through the 20th, 2023. Any questions or comments?
Well, you recognize the ARPA funding, and thank you for doing that, and we're glad to be able to offer that and continue to offer it for years to come. But you know what, a free ticket to a boring show is not very exciting. But here we're able to offer what your group does is so much excitement and vitality behind those gates. There's so much dedication that goes on year round to putting that on, and it's all that energy and creativity that your group has that keeps those people coming back. And we've been lifelong exhibitors there, and you have so much support up here. But it's all those volunteers that you have. Like we recognized volunteers earlier today for their commitment to the community. But what your crew does and what you do is just absolutely amazing. So we're very glad to be a part of that.
Thank you. And we have hundreds and hundreds of volunteers and nonprofit organizations that work with us. We're a nonprofit ourselves, but it wouldn't be possible without the volunteers and people that just truly love the fair and our community. So we wouldn't be able to do what we do without them. And I always say that we get to sell fun. That's my job. I get to sell fun to people, and so it's enjoyable. And those positive experiences and stories are what kind of gives us the motivation to keep going year after year to make it better.
And I would again echo what Commissioner Wright said. Him among others, Commissioner Wright and others knew we already had the best fairgrounds in Minnesota, but I don't know, it took a perfect storm between COVID and some other things to really have a great fair this year. I mean, I go back with fairs, and since I was a little kid, it was a great fair. And you, Casey, you deserve some credit for your hard work there too, because I know you're working there all the time. So.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair? Go ahead. Yeah, we overuse it, but I'll echo what everybody else said. But that term is something that we probably use a little too much up here. But I do have a question for you. And this is not fair because I'm springing this on you, but, with the increased attendance, what do you think, or do you have a committee prepared to address some of the things that you probably didn't see, with half or less attendance over the last years? An example maybe is parking, right? How do you plan on moving forward to address some of those types of things, knowing that we are supportive and willing to help in that, but I mean, I'm guessing you learned some things in this too.
We learned a few things, and it was a learning experience in a good way. I mean, we were at times overwhelmed with people, like I said, in a good way. For example, on Friday afternoon, there were so many people on the fairgrounds that our ticket scanning program that runs off of a cell service, it was so bogged down that everyone was using the cell service in that particular spot that we were like going back to like tallying and chicken scratch here trying to figure out, so that was number one. Like, okay, if we ever do this again, we need to figure out that parking is a huge thing. That's now that we know that we have the opportunity to possibly welcome this many people, at least for the next 4 years, parking is our number one fix. But again, all good problems. Right. And I think considering people were very accommodating and very just overall happy to be there. They weren't concerned about the backup to McDonald's. They weren't concerned about parking a mile away. They just seemed to all be just very appreciative of the opportunity.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Building maintenance, Spencer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Consider approving a quote from SJM Construction to renovate courthouse women's restroom in into a nursing room at a cost of $14,391.40 with the funds from the county building major repair budget. So Public Health reached out to us. I think it's been going on, they asked about a year ago even already, but requested a lactation space at the courthouse accessible to employees and public. Once the space is created, McLeod County would meet the Minnesota Department of Health's criteria to be recognized as a breastfeeding-friendly workplace. The funds are available in the 2022 budget.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Spencer and I spoke, and we've been working on this together, and I wanted to add a little bit to help you guys have more information. So at the courthouse, you invested a considerable amount of money in 2017 into an addition and renovation. Those restrooms that were built are very nice. There's accessible restrooms now right in the entryway. These restrooms are the ones that are right next to court administration. Those are not accessible restrooms. Currently, we don't have anywhere for our employees or the public to go and use for nursing, and that is a pretty big deal. We have actually had employees in the building who could have used that facility if it were had. And so Nicole McLeod has been very helpful from Health and Human Services in finding out the information needed, being persistent about trying to make sure that we're still working on this because it took us a while. We did send out information to several contractors asking them to participate in this project. And we also recognized that we did not want to have a stress on the 2023 budget, so we looked at what was planned for this year, and that's why it comes to you now, so that the work can be completed prior to the end of December with existing dollars that were not used on projects for repairs this year. So what this would do is, in those two restrooms, the women's restroom would turn into a nursing area. It would still have a stall in it so that the person using that could use a bathroom stall if needed. We did check with the Minnesota Department of Health. That is allowable as long as it's not the main use of that space. There would be an occupied lock installed on the door. We already have some work to do in those restrooms. The plumbing was altered and needed some work. There's a lot of capping and such that needs to be done. But what we're doing with this cost is minimal to get the spaces where they need to be. The restroom that is now the men's restroom would be called a family restroom. We don't have one currently. There's no men's restroom, I believe, with a changing table. This would enable, so if there's people at the courthouse who need a family restroom or a place to change their infants, that they would have that available, and then they could take their kids into the restroom with them. So that would have a urinal or 2 urinals, because it already has 2. We may take one out. A restroom stall, a changing table, and then a counter for people to lay diaper bags and such on. I hope that answers everything that maybe you didn't even need to know, but.
Questions from the board?
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve the project.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to approve the $14,391.40 for a nursing room is seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
just to be clear, I believe that what was stated was the quote is just an estimate. It's going to be charged out at time and materials.
In our workshop, I was under the impression we were setting a price not to exceed. Is that not correct?
We received an updated cost on Friday, and that's why you saw an update to the agenda once that was received from SJM. So this is the cost of the work from the contractor. Is there anything to add to that, Spencer, or is that, okay?
So my question would be, is there an open end to this then? I mean, where are we?
No, this is a hard number from SJM. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer, have a good day.
Thank you for your work on this, Spencer.
Employee Relations, Hannah. Good morning, Hannah.
Good morning. Just have one item today. Item A is consider approving a 3-year contract with iSolved HCM via Westland Associates for our COBRA administrative services from January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2025. This contract includes a 3-year rate lock and will waive all of the setup fees. McLeod County in the past has paid $1 per employee per month for the COBRA services for many years, and this new fee will be 55 cents per benefit eligible employee on COBRA per month. COBRA, just for some context, is a federal health insurance law. If you lose or leave a job or have a reduction in hours, that COBRA lets you keep your existing employer's base coverage for at least the next 18 months.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I just want to add one thing, that the employee or former employee is the person who pays the full amount. So the employer portion that we pay, like what you approved 2 meetings ago, that is no longer included in their cost. So they actually would pay the full cost for COBRA insurance. And COBRA is a really funny word. It means Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act. You'll be quizzed later, no, but, so just so you know, the cost is actually less than it would have been beforehand. Thank you to Hannah and Colleen for working on that. And then they assume the entire cost of the premium. The county does not make a contribution to those accounts.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
And question for Hannah. The cost, as it's pointed out, is that a cost per a person using the COBRA? Or
Yeah.
is it a cost that's spread out of every employee in McLeod County?
So my understanding is this is a cost per those that are on COBRA. So basically what happens is when someone was to retire or resign, within 30 days, they receive a letter from iSolve that they have the option to opt into COBRA. And then at that point is when the 55 cents per month is a charge.
Thank you, Hannah. Mr. Chair, I move.
Or I'm sorry, Sheila, is that incorrect?
I believe we pay that. That's like, it's like an insurance policy for us.
Okay,
We
okay.
pay that administrative fee for all of our benefit eligible employees.
Okay.
In the case that it comes about, it's kind of like you pay your car insurance, hopefully you don't have an accident. We pay this cost for coverage, hopefully we don't have a lot of people leaving. But then our administrative fees are covered to help
Thanks,
us
yeah.
meet the federal law.
Is that clear, Commissioner, or is clear as
It's
mud?
almost clear, but I will move approval of a request.
Sorry about that. My mistake.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Public Works, John.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Morning.
John.
One item before you today would be to consider our McLeod County right-of-way plat number 68. This is the plat for the upcoming project at County Road 115 or Airport Road and Jefferson Street or County Road 25. The plat, which we've been platting right-of-ways for a number of years, and it's just part of the process as we work on obtaining right-of-way. One thing, the plat, if you look at the lower left are the parcels, owners and everything, and where this plat, it represents roughly 7.6 acres of new easement from those landowners. And about little over 3 acres of temporary easements, which are obtained just for, the duration of the construction.
John, is this all a county, or is there some work with the city of Hutchinson on this?
City's involved in the project a little bit. Some of the stuff down Jefferson, that's all county. It's city street farther to the north. It's a joint project, but the right-of-way would be on the county system.
Well, it's part of the process. I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any discussion? I don't want to come out of left field, but was buying that house there, was that considered at all?
I think it was considered when we looked at the construction limits, we're able to work on the project and minimize impacts to the house, move the field, or move the roundabout to the southwest a little bit, so it's not needed. We're doing some accommodations in the splitter islands to get them access to the garage that's on, toward Airport Road, but it's not really an impact for it.
And you're comfortable with what, I mean, I personally am but I know I get some questions, that's why I brought it up, but
Yeah, I think we don't need to spend a
It was
couple
actually
hundred,
moved and
300,000
turned, wasn't
plus. Yeah, it was moved a little bit. The right of way, yeah, I mean, the impacts, there's, we got farm field to the west and south a little bit. I think the designers minimized everything the best they can to avoid the house, which is what we need to do, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think there's any hardships for that parcel.
any other questions for John? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Environmental Services, Mark, good morning.
Morning, everyone. I have two items for you this morning. The first is to consider approving the purchase of a 2023 Dodge 1500 Bighorn Lone Star Crew Cab 4x4 from J. Malone Motors at a cost of $54,509 plus tax, title, and tabs with funds from the Environmental Service Budget 01-609. And then also to trade in the current 2006 Chevy 1500 Silverado at a $6,000 value that we received a quote from J. Malone. I also did receive a quote from Litchfield Chrysler for $56,009 plus tax, title, and tabs. So this is to replace that vehicle. We do have capital in the budget for 2021, minus the trade-in. It's going to be a little bit more than what we've got in for the capital budget for 2021. I held off as long as I possibly could. The state contract, the value that I put in the capital budget for 2021, state contract had trucks on it at the time. Most vendors pulled trucks from the state contracts, and state contracts are very limited now for the types of vehicles you can buy. So that's why I went out towards the end of this year, worked with local dealers to get the best price that we possibly could. The current vehicle we have has about 135,000 miles on it and is in the process of needing more repair work. So I think it is prudent that we look for a different vehicle for us to continue our service.
So it's in the budget for '22?
I have it in the 2021 budget, and the fees, I'm sorry, thank you, Mr. 2022, we have it in the 2022.
Thank you.
I'm a year behind. So we do have it in the 2022 budget and for capital. And then we also have the extra that it will cost approximately about $6,000. We have it in the equipment fund for solid waste, so nothing would be asked for out of the general fund.
Mark, and we talked a little about this. The only question that came up to mind while you were doing this is the 2006, is that a 4x4?
It is, yes.
Are you comfortable with that value?
So the concern that we have is we could put that out on auction, if you will. The used car market is really starting to get saturated again, and working with both dealers that we talked with, that is a fair value, and they look to see who would purchase that value off of their lot. So I am comfortable with that number. Could we get more on the open market? Maybe. Would it take longer? Yes. So it's up to you as a board if you would authorize us to trade that in on a purchase of a new one. But if not, we can certainly work through MinSpec or MinBid, excuse me, or we could work with our local auctioneer as we've done in the past to try to market that vehicle.
And the only reason I said it is to bring that to it's all over the board. You take that chance at getting less as well.
Yeah.
But, all the data always shows me today, you're giving your trade-in away when you're buying a new
Yeah,
vehicle.
it's a good question, and I considered that when I put this together, so it's a fair statement.
Yeah. And it's bought locally, which to me was
That's an item that you are not allowed to consider, Mr. Chair.
no, but it does, the trade's going to stay in the local, but I believe you're in need of a decent vehicle. I mean, you put up with some, hand-me-downs for a while, so that's my opinion. The rest of the board have any questions for Mark?
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item B is to consider approval for a conditional use permit, 22-14, requested by Dave Tebrake of Miller Architects and Builders, St. Cloud, Minnesota. Dave is representing Emmanuel Lutheran School to construct a new day school on a parcel that Emmanuel Lutheran Church currently owns at the intersection of State Highway 7 and Walden Avenue, which is in the northeast quarter of Section 29, Tacoma Township, west of Hutchinson. The school is a nonprofit organization with classes pre-K through 8th grade. This addition could allow up to an additional 40 students. The Minnesota Department of Transportation provided comments suggesting a right turn lane be installed. That is the reason why this was tabled at one time in the request. Tacoma Town Board recommended approval at its September 6, 2022 meeting. The Planning Advisory Commission heard this request at a public hearing on September 28, 2022, and motioned to table until October 26, 2022 in order to gather additional information. A 60-day waiver was signed by the applicant. The reason for the additional time, I did meet with MnDOT, Megan DeShepper, myself, Cody Brand. I worked with John Brunkhorst on trying to get some cross-traffic counts in regards to the request for that, a recommendation from MnDOT for that right turn lane. And the traffic counts did meet their warrant, MnDOT's warrant. But with all the discussion that we had in regards to this, it was the concern of MnDOT cannot force a right turn lane because it is onto a public road and not a private access. So at what point then does all the increase in traffic justify the project having to put that right turn lane in? That was the reason why we tabled it, to gather some additional information. So on October 26, 2022, the Planning Commission reopened the public hearing and recommended approval with the following conditions. Number one, plans stamped by a Minnesota licensed architect or engineer shall be submitted to McLeod County Environmental Services prior to commencing construction activity. Number two, rural garbage recycling collection shall be required for this facility. And then number three, approval from Minnesota Department of Education shall be provided to McLeod County Environmental Services prior to the issuance of a land use permit for construction. The applicants had some questions in regards to was a valid condition. I have tried multiple times to get in contact with the Department of Education to see if that is a valid request by statute. I have not received any comment back. It is a request that we do have currently in the ordinance. So moving forward, I would ask that we keep that condition if approved. And if MnDOT does not require that, I will ask for a statement from them that they would in turn sign off on that, that their comment is not needed. So with that being said, Dave Tebrake is here. John Huff is also here. He's on the committee for the church and for the entities that are going in on the construction of the new school if approved.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Mark, I have a question. So go over condition 3 again for me.
So the condition 3 is a standard that we have currently in the zoning ordinance, and it is approval from the Minnesota Department of Education shall provide to McLeod County Environmental Services the approval to build the new school. So basically what they would do is review the construction plans and sign off that it meets the standards. There is some question in regards to being a parochial school, a private school, if the Department of Education does have an oversight into that project.
And at the end, maybe it was just a slip of the tongue. You said MnDOT, that's a different topic than this, right?
Yes, my fault.
Okay, all right, so I'm clear on that. Talk to me again about MnDOT, because the calls I'm getting, and there are a few, but, you know, the concerns about the right turn lane. MnDOT cannot require this, correct?
They recommend it because it's not a private access.
Okay, right. But the traffic count warranted their concern.
So the traffic counts, and I worked with John, and John, if he's willing, he can speak to this a little bit, but he used streetlight data. We've used for other projects. It's a GIS tracker. It's conservative in my opinion, because not every vehicle has a cell phone or a GPS tracker in it. And the traffic counts for the cross traffic were at 209. MnDOT's warrant for a right turn lane at an intersection, typical of that, is at 100. So that's where MnDOT made the recommendation moving forward. But in fairness to the applicant, the concern that was brought forward is, were all those trips based on the school or the church?
Sure.
Because it is a public road.
I would agree. Mr. Chair, Before I go any further, I would just ask you to recognize the applicants if they want to speak to this at all.
Absolutely. Who would like to go, or, go ahead. Both of you can step up to the mics if you'd like. Just let us know again who you are, and we'll go from there.
Good morning. I'm Dave T. Brock with Miller Architects and Builders, representing the school. And
I'm John Hoff. I am on the school building committee. I'm a member of the school board.
so I guess the main topic at hand is that right turn lane. And certainly, we understand if you would ask someone, oh, would you recommend it? And if they feel that it is, and if they feel it's borderline, you're going to say, if it's not costing you anything, you're going to say, sure, I'll recommend it. So what we would like to point out is that of the 209 vehicles that Mark talked about, the school has about 30 that come in the morning. So they have a bus, there's carpools, then teachers, and then some parents that drop off. Of those 30 that come in the morning, about 5 of them come from the north, so they're not even accessing Highway 7. And then the same thing in, mid-afternoon for pickup and, teachers heading home then. So if that's 60 total, or around 60 total, that's still well shy of the 209. So I guess from the school standpoint, our point of view is, why should a school pay for that right turn lane when they're only part of the traffic counts? There's 11 different residences that access that, plus people going to the north or coming from the north. So it seemed quite unfair in our minds to have the school pay 100% of a turn lane that they're only a contributor of. So if you go to that intersection, the school's been there over 100 years. If you go to that intersection, and without, no one from the school ever could remember any accident, any incident at that intersection. Not saying there may not have been, but no one from the school could ever remember anything. If you go to that intersection, you can see as far as you can, both directions. It's a very open intersection. It's not coming around a corner, a curve, or anything. So, it's, as safe as any intersection could be. I kind of did my own analysis and went from Highway 15 all the way to Cosmos and back, and then looked at every intersection there was, and there was 51 different intersections. 13 of those intersections were, I would say, protected in some way, had a stoplight or had a right turn lane or a left turn lane. So 6 of those were in the city of Hutchinson. So well, technically 2 were not. They were just outside the city limits, but I assume they were all involved at the same time when Highway 7 was widened as it went through the town. Of the 7 remaining, there's 4 that are at county roads and 3 that are at state highways. So there is none that is at any township intersection or any other intersection other than a county road or a state highway. So this would be requiring the first one. So what we don't have is the information on every other intersection or the other ones that are also over 100. In our minds, it's the state's responsibility. If they feel that intersection needs protection or needs this turn lane, that should be the state's responsibility to put that in, not the school's responsibility to put that in. They're a non-for-profit school. They don't, as a non-for-profit, as a private school, they don't get the funding like a public school would get. So it's families like John's or anyone involved in the school that is paying above and beyond the taxes that they're paying already that go to the public schools to, to have their child go to that school and see the value of the education of that school. So the school needs to expand. They're in an old house, and it's been needed for some time. There's not an unlimited budget to afford a big additional cost to do this. So we would ask that, like the Planning Commission, you would approve it without the stipulation of the right turn lane. Questions?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
No, that's fine. And obviously, this is in the district that I represent, and I've paid attention to it since it got brought up. Commissioner Luthen's filled me in on the Planning Commission process and the vote, which I appreciate. And knowing some of the families out there, not all of them, I don't think they would do anything to jeopardize the health and safety of their members and their children. Can't predict the future, I get that. And but with that being said, I'm ready to, and I will, move approval of the permit, or the conditional use, what am I approving, a conditional use permit?
Sorry. Mr. Chair, if I may. Commissioner Nagel, yes, it's conditional use permit 22-14, and it's with the 3 conditions. And just for clarity, the 3 conditions did not include a right turn lane.
Yep.
As recommended by the Planning Commission.
Yep, I agree. So I move to approve the conditional use permit with the 3 articulated and stated conditions.
Second, Mr. Chair.
A motion made by Commissioner Nagel and seconded by Commissioner Schmalz to approve. Is there any other discussion? Could you please just review those other 3 conditions, please?
So condition 1 would be a stamped set of plans signed by a licensed architect or engineer, and they need to be submitted to the McLeod County Environmental Service Office prior to commencing construction activity. So permitting, land use permit, we would authorize, and we would need those plans. Number 2, rural garbage recycling collection shall be required at this facility. And then number 3, approval from Minnesota Department of Education shall be provided to McLeod County Environmental Services prior to the issuance of a land use permit for construction. And with that condition, if Minnesota Department of Education, MDE, comes forward and says that that approval is not statutory, they don't have that authority, then number 3 would be met.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I lived out there for quite a few years. I drove the road another 10 years every day. My feeling is it's a safety issue. The road going through the highway is really narrow. You bring out a semi trying to make that right-hand turn, and they have to stop to get turned in for the other driver to get out of the way. Not a good situation, only because that road is very narrow. And then, Mr. Young, do we have any liability or concerns that way because of the permit?
John, that gravel road is an Acoma Township road, correct? So if you're looking for liability, the liability would rest with the road authorities, and we aren't the road authority. Now, the question that I had, and so does that answer what your question is?
Okay.
John, and Mr. Chair, if I may?
Go ahead.
John, if MnDOT says this ought to have a right turn lane, when they come through and do a reconstruction, will they put in a right turn lane?
They would, most likely.
And when is this set for on their reconstruction?
There's nothing in their 10-year plan, I just looked at that one. Yeah, it'll be a white ways out.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And my response to her, what my comment would be that there's concerns, safety concerns on every road around, in my opinion, and I don't know that I don't think it's for us to decide to put that whole burden onto this new church. I mean, it is what it is. I think you made an excellent point. there, I mean, until you know, what are you contributing? Until those things are met, and that's not for us to decide, in my opinion. So I'm in favor of the motion as stated.
Mr. Chair, we're getting some information that people cannot hear you guys, so make sure you're putting your microphones close enough to you and that you're turning them on when you're speaking, please.
They seem to
They
work
can
really
hear,
well.
I'm not talking about the presenters, I'm talking about you guys. Thank you.
We're in trouble though.
Oh, we are. We're in trouble. That's unusual for me. But anyway, I hope you heard my points. I don't think we can penalize the church or any other building if we don't know how much you're contributing to this issue. I mean, safety has been mentioned everywhere. You know, sometimes you just can't fix that, so. But at any rate, that's why I'm in favor of this motion as stated. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Aye.
So we have,
Roll call. Commissioner Nagel?
Aye.
Commissioner Wright?
yes.
Commissioner Kruger is yes. Commissioner Luthens?
No.
Commissioner Schmalz?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Health and Human Services, Barrett. Good morning, Barrett.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. I have 7 items before you today. It is that time of the year to renew a number of our contracts. So, item A, consider approving the contract renewal for services with Richard Decker for adult mental health clinical supervision for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023 at a rate of $169 per hour, not to exceed 60 hours, or $10,140 with funds from the Human Services Fund. State statute requires clinical supervision and signed care plans for adult mental health case managers in order to provide services and then bill medical assistance and managed care plans for the services provided. This is a 2.5% increase to the hourly rate from our current 2022 contract.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright and seconded by Commissioner Nagel to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Go ahead.
Item B, consider approving the contract renewal for services with Ashley Hubble for children's mental health clinical supervision for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023 at a rate of $146 per hour, not to exceed 60 hours, or $8,760 with funds from the Human Service Fund. State statute again requires clinical supervision and signed care plans for children's mental health case managers in order to provide services and bill medical assistance and managed care plans for the services provided. This is a 3% increase to the hourly rate from our current 2022 contract.
Move approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item C, consider approving the contract renewal for services with Terry Niemeyer, Nest LLC, for support services to children and families for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023 at a rate of $47.75 per hour, not to exceed 500 hours or $23,875 with funds from the Human Service Fund. Services that may be provided include parenting assistance, money management, meal planning, and grocery shopping, and learning appropriate social skills and independent living skills. This is a 3% increase to the hourly rate, but a reduction in the not-to-exceed hours from 1,000 hours, which is in our current 2022 contract.
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second by Commissioner Nagel? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. D.
Thank you. Item D, consider approving the contract renewal for services with Donna England for support services to children and families for the period of January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, at a rate of $28.14 per hour, not to exceed 300 hours or $8,500, with funds from the Human Service Fund. Services that may be provided include parenting assistance, money management, meal planning and grocery shopping, learning appropriate social skills, and independent living skills. This is a 3% increase from our in the hourly rate, but a reduction in the not to exceed hours from 1,000 hours in our 2022 contract.
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to approve. Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. E.
Okay, we're getting there. Item E, consider approving the contract renewal from Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services, also known as CMJTS, to provide Minnesota Family Investment Program, or MFIP, and Diversionary Work Program, DWP, services from McLeod County for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, at a cost of $172,040 with funds from the Human Services Fund. Services provided may include paid employment activities, paid and unpaid work experience and community service, site placements, job search and work readiness assistance, individualized structured job searches, structured follow-up, chemical health treatment, mental health treatment, and rehabilitation services, education and training-related activities, and family stabilization services. This is the same cost as our current 2022 contract, with $143,084 going to the MFIP program and $28,956 going to the DWP program.
I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Schmalz. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item F, consider approving the contract renewal with Painted Horse Ranch LLC to provide court-ordered supervised visitation, travel, and court appearances for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, at a rate of $45 per hour and with mileage billed at the IRS allowable rate only when transporting a client, with funds from the Human Service Fund. This is the same rate as our current 2022 contract.
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Discussion? Hearing none, all...
Can we back up to the mileage? Can you explain that one more time?
So if Painted Horse, any of their employees with Painted Horse, if they need to transport a client, they will bill us for mileage at the IRS rate. Not for them traveling to see a client, if they have to transport a client to a court appearance or to a visitation.
So there's two different scales then?
It's their,
One price going there, and then once has the client, it goes to the other one?
so their hourly rate, the mileage rate is only if they're transporting a client.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. G.
Finally, item G, consider approving the contract renewal with McLeod County Attorneys, with the McLeod County Attorney's Office, to provide welfare fraud investigation services at a rate of $135 per hour for attorney work and $35 per hour for investigative work, not to exceed $22,000, plus $480 annually for a cell phone reimbursement. This will be provided with funds from the Human Service Fund. This is a 3% increase from our current 2022 contract.
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nagel. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Before you leave this stand, first of all, I'm going to take, there was some consideration of putting this into the consent agenda because it's just, it's all mandated. I just want to point out to anybody that's watching that it's real important to have this information. If you notice, most all these contracts are mandated. And if not mandated, they're a tool that you use to do your jobs. And I am presuming there's a couple of these contracts that stayed the same and some of them went up 3%. And I am assuming that 3% probably took care of labor increases.
Yes.
And all I'm doing, I have nothing other than pointing that out. I just thought it was not fair to rubber stamp it and without going through, because a lot of the public wonders where this money goes or what happens, and this is just a small part of it, so.
Correct.
That's all I'd like to point out. Thank you, Barrett.
Yep, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I just want to note that they weren't going to be in consent because of mandated. They were going to be in there because they were renewals. So
And I'm not,
I know, it's just one word that is kind of important, and I just wanted to make sure and note that they were renewals, and it's not because of mandating. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
well, and for us, I understand that, and that's not why I pulled it out. I think that it's just, the public has to know, I think part of our job is to educate too as well, so.
Yeah, thank
Mr.
you.
Chair?
Thank you. Go ahead.
And I'd like to thank Barrett for putting in the percentage increases in our packet. I mean, that's kind of what I focus on, where we've been in the past, where we're going to forwards, and it really helps me, decide which way to lean with the request. So thanks for including those percentages.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. County administration, start with review of calendars. Joe?
We're running a little long, so I'll make it quick. Several different bargaining units for union negotiations, including the licensed sergeants, AFSCME, the non-licensed sergeants. Had a phone call scheduled with the NACO regarding public safety. Lots of phone calls, not a lot, I don't want to over-exaggerate. Phone calls regarding the church that was just approved, and then the ring road that we'll address in our workshop. But real quick, if I may, last night was one of the funner things I get to do. I got to present at the Acoma Acorns 4-H Club and work with them on some parliamentary procedure things. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate the invite. It was it was a blast. So I need those things. So if anybody's got some more, that would be great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Main things in my calendar since our last meeting, our road tour, seeing the different roads and some park issues across the county as we make plans for those. Yesterday, Canvas Board. Great job to all of our election judges, our auditor treasurer's department, such a superior and professional job that they do in making sure that our elections run smoothly. I will add in there, last week I assisted with one of our approved aquatic invasive fund projects with Lake Marion carp removal. I helped with that for a few hours as the Lake Association is dedicated to improve the quality of their lake, the water quality, and remove some of those fish that are definitely getting in the way of making those goals come true. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Since our last meeting, the road tour as well, and we had Health and Human Services a board meeting. We had, and I too would like to thank our staff in the auditor's office for the smooth election process. I heard nothing but good things, maybe a little long, but everybody complimented the thoroughness and felt very secure voting. I also had a CRF committee meeting on the 26th. I had a HRA board meeting on the 26th as well. Did the agenda review on the 27th. And I also, yesterday, well, first I had a North Fork One Watershed One plan on the 2nd, and yesterday I had MRC Rural County Caucus. We had basically kind of a special meeting. Our director that has been running MRC, which is Minnesota Rural Counties, has resigned, and we did a review on three different associations that instead of having an individual, have an association, and we came down on Capitol Hill Associates. They're basically a lobbying firm, and they'll also help us to prioritize some of our top issues because we're kind of spread pretty thin to be effective. And without getting too long, there's Ann Kelser is on that association, along with Britta Torkelson and Sam Walseth and Bob Van Zak, if I got those names right, but I'm kind of excited. We need a little violation in MRC to be heard at the legislature. So with that, I'm here today.
Thank you,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair. We'll go back to the first road trip and workshop. Thursday, on the 3rd, we had a Prime West meeting in Alexander, where they voted to appeal the decision with the DHS. And then on Monday, MRC meeting. On the 9th was a Pact for Families in Olivia. And Thursday, board meeting at CHS and environmental in Hutch. And yesterday, I was with Doug at the MRC meeting in Alexandria. Brings me up there. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, like's been mentioned, on the 1st November, we had a short workshop, and then we all attended the annual road tour in McLeod County. The 3rd was a marathon day for me. Started the morning with 3 union negotiations committees meeting, and I'd like to thank Sheila and the staff for the work they've put into the union negotiations. A lot of it, is repetitious, but you just got to hang in there because we have to, address all the issues with each union that comes before us. So I appreciate the help the staff has given with that. And then right after I got done with the Union Negotiations Committee meeting at noon, I jumped right on the Prime West Zoom meeting, as Darrell mentioned, and witnessed, what transacted at that meeting. And then Friday morning, we were back here again at the Government Center for another 2 Union Negotiations Committee meetings as well. Monday the 7th, started the morning with Supporting Hands Nurse Family Partnership meeting in Olivia. The highlight of that meeting is we welcomed a new executive director to that group. So we wish her the best and much success with that group. And then stopped at the Government Center here for a 1 o'clock Union Negotiations Committee as well, and a meeting with Adam at Soil and Water. Brings me to November 10th, CHS Joint Powers Board meeting in Hutchinson. Monday the 14th, as Paul mentioned, we did our McLeod County canvassing of votes. And again, congratulations to the election staff and staff, for running a smooth election as it was presented to us yesterday morning. Brings us up to date, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila.
Just want to reiterate, thank you to the election staff in the auditor treasurer's office, especially Connie Kurtzweg, Janet Betzinger, and their team, of course. And then it was an easy night because of all of the work that they did ahead of time. And thank you to all of our staff internally who volunteered to help out. That was very nice. That's all I have. And I'll go to item A.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Consider a recommendation from the Personnel Committee to appoint Deb Jensen, the County Recorder, for a 4-year term effective January 1, 2023 through December 31, 2026. As you recall, on January 18th of this year, our Board of Commissioners voted to transition this position into an appointed role. And then on May 17th, 2022, Deb Jensen was appointed following Lynette Schrupp's final day, which was June 3rd, 2022. So she is completing her current term through the end of this year, December 31st, 2022, and Deb is here today if you have any questions.
Sure you want it? All right, move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Nagel and seconded by Commissioner Wright to appoint Deb Jensen for her next 4-year term effective January 1, 2023 through December 31st of 26. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you, congratulations. Item B, consider adopting Resolution 22-CB-41, appointing Dr. Quinn Piper of Midwest Medical Examiner's Office to act as McLeod County Medical Examiner effective January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2026. You have to make this appointment whenever there's a contract up, or I believe it's every 3 years. So Stefan brought this onto the agenda, and it was reviewed recently, the contract was.
Mr. Chair, move approval of Resolution 22-CB-41 as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls and seconded by Commissioner Luthens to adopt Resolution 22CB41. All in favor, or any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Excuse me, am I out of order just to, I think we should grab a picture of Deb, to be really honest with you. This is her really,
Well, she's in her appointment now, so it would,
I know.
she would start on January 1st, and we'll do pictures of everyone at our
At our-
yeah,
'cause
at
I
our
think
meeting
it
then,
should
but
go-
thank you. Don't do
think
that
it
to her
should go on
today,
the
she wasn't
paper.
ready, I'm sure. But we did have her headshot taken recently, and then we'll do new ones for the newly appointed and elected officials at the beginning of January, so thank you. Sorry, but since we're off topic, Commissioner Luthens, your microphone's far away and can't hear you, so when you did a second, that came from Commissioner Luthens. Item C, the Buffalo Creek Watershed District Board of Managers Drainage Authority for the petitioned improvement of Judicial Ditch 8 laterals 12 and 13 will hold a final hearing on the petitioned improvement at 2:30 p.m. Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022, in Suite 103 of the Glencoe City Center at 1107 11th Street East, Glencoe, Minnesota. The Buffalo Creek Watershed District Board will accept public comment regarding the proposed improvement and the viewer's report. Any party having an interest in proceedings may appear and provide comment. Written comments will be accepted at the hearing and by mail if received by Monday, November 21st, 2022, directed to the board's legal consultant, Rinke Noonan Law Firm, attention John Kolb, P.O. Box 1497, St. Cloud, Minnesota, 56302, 1497, or JKOLB, jkolb@rinkenoonan.com. Please reference JD8 laterals 12 and 13 in your comments. All of this information I just read off is in our board agenda online, or you can call us with any questions at our general line and ask for administration. Item D, notification of Sibley McLeod Joint Drainage Authority Informational Landowners Meeting on the redetermination of benefits of Joint Ditch 19. There will be a presentation by the viewers at 2:00 p.m. Wednesday, November 30, 2022, in the basement meeting of the Sibley County Courthouse, 400 Court Avenue, Gaylord, Minnesota. Item E, notification of McLeod Drainage Authority public hearing on the engineer's repair report of the drainage system of County Ditches 13 and 29. The Drainage Authority will hear public comment regarding the engineer's report at 1:00 p.m. Tuesday, December 13, 2022, here in the Martin McLeod Boardroom of the McLeod County Government Center at 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Item F, notification of Sibley McLeod Joint Drainage Authority public hearing on redetermination of benefits, Joint Ditch 19. The Drainage Authority will hear public comment on the acceptance of the redetermination of benefits at 1:30 p.m. Friday, December 16, 2022, in the basement meeting room of the Sibley County Courthouse, 400 Court Avenue, Gaylord, Minnesota. Item G, notification of the continuation of McLeod Drainage Authority public hearing of County Ditch 5. The Drainage Authority will hear public comment on repairs to the system and consider bids received at 9:30 a.m. Tuesday, December 20th, 2022, in the Martin McLeod Boardroom here at the McLeod County Government Center at 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. And finally, item H, notification of Truth and Taxation meeting at 6:00 p.m. on Thursday, December 8th, 2022, here at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. I need to go back to G just to point out that there is some changes going to be made in that meeting. There's some new information that has came to light that is probably, the meeting is on and we will have the meeting, but there will be some changes in the agenda, so I would hope to get them specifically here by our next meeting.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
And real quick, Sheila corrected it, but I just don't, because it's a truth and taxation meeting, I don't want any confusion. So I'm going to point it out. The agenda says Tuesday, December 8th. It's actually Thursday, December 8th. So we'll correct that, Stefan, and get that posted correctly, because that's the last phone call I want to get. That's going on.
For sure.
Thank you for catching it.
And for those who attended that, you'll come through our front entrance at the McLeod County Government Center. We'll also put it in the news on the front page of the website. Thank you.
And Commissioner Wright, as long as we're going around here, that D and F are basically the same ditch meeting, aren't they? One is just approving the, you're on that ditch, I'm assuming
On
again.
19, yep.
And that one is just receiving the determination of benefits, and the other one is actually having the public hearing, is that correct?
It does appear that way, and I'm not certain, but it does appear that that's the order of events.
Okay, just a reminder that they're both probably equally as important, especially if you're a landowner or someone draining into that system. Is there any other business that need to come forward for the good of McLeod County? Hearing none, open forum. Anyone wish to address the board? Press relations. The next county board meeting is at 4 p.m. Thursday, December 8th, here at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler, in Glencoe, Minnesota. With that, I would entertain a motion to recess until that time.
Move recess, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair,
Just for a second, I thought we were going to stay in.
can we start the workshop at 10:45, please?
Sure. What are we at now?
10:39.
Okay, the workshop will start at 10:45.
Thank you.
Get all these things lowered on my calendar.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot there, Paul. I just was